Alright, I'm going to show you how to do a garter tab cast on, which is a pretty common way of starting shawls. It's not hard to do, but it's sort of hard to wrap your head around if you haven't done it before or seen it done. So I figured it would be a good one to demonstrate. So this is a shawl. This is my rip curl shawl that was started with a garter tab. And you can kind of see how there's a solid block right there before the increases start, and that's the garter tab. I'll also knit a few rows on our little sample piece so that you can sort of get a feel for how it develops. So first thing you need, and I'm using sort of large needles and yarn just to help you see better, but probably you would be working with a sock yarn or something. A really long needle will be really helpful, and you will see why shortly. You can get your yarn. First part is pretty easy. You want to cast on 3 stitches, and then you want to knit garter stitch for 6 rows. So I'm going to do that and then I'll come back. You don't need to see me knit 6 rows of garter stitch. Okay, so now I've got 6 rows of garter stitch, 3 stitches. You might be able to see 3 little ridges. If not, don't worry, as long as you have 6 rows, it doesn't matter. And here's my working yarn. So you can see I've literally just finished this row and dropped this needle, and you're not going to turn to work the other way. You're going to keep going this direction. And what you're going to do, turn it to the side like this, pull your needle out so that those stitches are on the cord. Oh no, my cord is tangled. Sorry, excuse me. There we go. So you've got your needle, your 3 stitches are on the cord. Take your working yarn, and you want to pick up 3 stitches along this edge here that of the rows you just made. Well, so 1, 2, 3, and you want to space them pretty evenly, but you know, don't get neurotic about it. It's such a small piece of your shawl that if it's not perfect, it really won't be the end of the world. So there you've got those 3, and now you're going to do the same thing. You're going to turn it, pull the stitches onto the needle, and you can even bunch them together with the old ones, as you see there. And now you're on your cast on edge. And I didn't mention this, but you can use pretty much whatever cast on you want. If you were really ambitious, you could use a provisional cast on, and then you wouldn't need to pick up stitches here. You could just take the stitches that were left from the provisional cast on. Personally, I don't think it's worth it because it's such a small area and provisional cast ons are an enormous pain in the butt. But you can do that if you want. So it's kind of hard to see, but this is your cast on area that's left, and you want to get 3 stitches out of there. And again, you know, it's kind of hard to see the 3 best places, but just do it the best you can. There. And so now you're left with this totally weird, mushed up thing. And you can pull the cord through so that all the stitches are together. And right now you're totally bending this out of shape. Like the cast on is here, and it goes like this, and the bind off is here. It's like a little rainbow of mushedness. And it will feel weird and wrong, but it's not. And so the way that these shawls are usually worked, and this is a broad generalization, so I could be very wrong when you actually look at your directions, but usually the first 3 stitches and the last 3 stitches are going to be left as sort of an edging on your shawl. So you'll knit those in garter stitch every single row, and then the 3 stitches in the middle are going to become the base of the actual part of the shawl that's going to be shaped and patterned. So I'll just do the first couple rows and then I'll jump forward in time so you can kind of see how it develops. So you would, downside of having a giant cord is that it gets in your way all the time. 2, 3, and then this is probably going to be the wrong side of the shawl since it's the first row and it's got all the pickup bumps. So I'll just purl those 3. then knit those 3. Sorry, I'm trying not to wander off camera, but... So now you're on a right side row. So your directions might have you do something like knit the first 3, do a yarn over for the shaping, knit 1 stitch, yarn over, which this would make the very center stitch your like center spine stitch. Sometimes you have more than 1 there, but for the purpose of this demonstration, we're just going to have the 1. Knit the spine stitch, yarn over again, knit the other one, yarn over again, and then these are your 3 edge stitches again. Alright, so I'm going to knit a few rows on this, and then I'll come back and show you, and hopefully you can get a feel for kind of how it grows outwards from the tab. Okay, so been knitting for a few rows, and now I've got this sort of weird bunched up thingy. But if you pull the cord through, spread it out, you can see how it's starting to become a triangle. Yay! So this is where the garter tab was in the middle, and these were the cast on stitches, and these were the, I don't want to say bind off stitches because I didn't actually bind it off. These were the top stitches, and then all of the 3 middle stitches beget all of these. You can see I've got increases here, here, and then 2 in the center. Yay! So yeah, your actual pattern may have you do something slightly different. You may have a wider or narrower garter tab. You may not end up incorporating them into a strip like this at the top. But this is pretty much the basic technique. And it's really not too bad, but when you write it out, it's something like knit 6 rows of garter stitch, rotate work, pick up 3, rotate work, pick up 3, and it kind of, you know, if you're not familiar with the technique, it looks like a bunch of gibberish.